different areas that you guys provide service. And so what I'm actually here providing information to you about is that we're Oval Environmental Justice Oregon and BRU. We're involved in the East Portland Bus Stop project. And so the purpose of this project is to basically identify key stops east of 82nd, because as you know, and if you've ridden the bus, there's a lot of bus stops that don't have shelter, lighting, don't have sidewalks, crosswalks. So it makes it really difficult for individuals who are transit dependent to be safe and have accessible bus stops that they can rely on. And so as of right now, we have 20 individuals, students, people of color, elderly, and disabled, that have been taking a lead role in actually going out with us and collect surveys and actually doing evaluations of different bus stops east of 82nd. And so the purpose of this is to collect all this data and then in the summertime, come to you and present basically which bus stops need to get improved. Because as you've heard from many individuals, especially when it's pouring out rain, when we were out doing surveys, I wasn't going to have my volunteers out waiting at a particular bus stop, getting rained on. So this is the purpose of the project. And so far, in addition to the 20 people that participated, we have collected 75 bus stop evaluations, 70 surveys. And so I just wanted to kind of give you a heads up that during the springtime we will be coming to you and presenting some information about which bus stops we're going to be prioritizing. So thank you.
Appreciate it.
President Warner, members of the board, I'm back.
We're so pleased you're back.
We already heard a little today about what TriMet is doing to prepare for the FY14 budget. I'm here to speak to you during this part of the meeting today just to let you know that Bus Ride Tonight's doing the same thing. We're looking forward to helping repair some of the credibility that was lost during the last budget cycle, and most importantly, finding ways to reduce the significant impacts that resulted to riders. Our Budget Policy Committee includes both longtime BRU members, representatives from such diverse organizations as the Center for Intercultural Organizing, Community Alliance of Tenants, Basic Rights Oregon, Upstream Public Health, the Multnomah Youth Commission, the ATU, and many others. We won't only be closely scrutinizing TriMet's work on the budget, we'll be insisting on more meaningful public involvement in the process and the decision making. We'll also be proposing ways for the agency to mitigate the disparate impacts of its historically high fares and reduce service on low-income riders and people of color. A disparate impact and need for mitigation, by the way, that TriMet conceded to in its own federally mandated Title 6 report on these changes. Among other things, this mitigation will include a renewed call for the extension of transfers to 3 hours, to restore some of the value to our transit system, reduce the burdens on those most impacted by recent policy decisions, and increase overall ridership. The extension of transfer times could very easily be implemented when TriMet finishes installing new ticket validation machines on its buses, which it expects to complete by next June. The quite significant benefits of extended transfer times have never really been in dispute by anybody in this room, and the need for this policy has never been greater. In the past, TriMet has resisted this policy because it would provide a greater potential benefit to riders formerly known as two-zone riders, because of the density of transit service available to people living close to the urban center of our area. Of course, however debatable this prior basis for resistance was, it now actually provides the strongest justification for extending transfer times in the wake of TriMet's fare restructuring, which resulted in the former two-zone riders receiving by far the largest proportional increase in their fares. At the same time, transit-dependent individuals who live further out in the metro area and must rely on transit for simple daily errands now pay the same price as everyone else, regardless of how far they travel. These riders would benefit substantially from the policy because it's a way to compensate for the lack of transit service in their areas by allowing them more time to run their errands and avoid buying an expensive all-day pass just for a short trip to the grocery store. These equitable considerations and many others unambiguously favor this policy. Of course, the primary reason that TriMet has so far resisted the policy is the potential but very modest cost involved in this policy. Yet, we know that every time the agency has re-examined the cost of this policy, its estimate's been dramatically reduced. It's now about less than half of the agency's original estimate, stands at about $2.5 million, which is nothing compared to the contracts that just got approved today. And these are all short-term costs, so that any expert who's looked at this proposal recognizes disappear as the ridership benefits from extending transfers catch up. We believe also that in the wake of recent budget revelations, that whatever these very modest short-term costs are, if any, the agency can afford it. We look forward to further collaboration with TriMet staff and board members on this issue and others of concern to transit and their riders.
Thank you, Jared. We look forward to your participation in next year's budget process, and I expect to have some robust discussions as we move forward. That's all I have in terms of people who signed up to testify in the public forum. With nothing else, I think we'll end this meeting. And again, thank you for a very successful meeting. And Travis, thank you very much for helping arrange this. This was very beneficial. Thank you.